Jesus sometimes has some really hard things to listen. You know, the gospel is not always nice and smooth and, just, oh, really? It's not like that. We hear that in that second reading from the letter to the Ephesians, which is, what? Have somebody over me, and be just kind of a servant and all that kind of stuff, which is not at all what Jesus was saying. Because we forget and we listen only to what we want to listen to. In fact, this section from the Bible is the Magna Carta for marriage. It's really, and if you remember how it starts, give way of one another in reverence to Christ. And then husbands, others. And so we get all tied up with what, but wait a minute, I've got to be subordinate to my husband? That's not what it says. It says be submissive to each other. Not just to that one to, it's not that kind of a thing. And we kind of forget about that. And it's just a powerful, powerful thing about marriage. We must remember that the one blessing that still is here from the very beginning, even before Adam and Eve sinned, is the blessing of matrimony. And so it's there from the absolute beginning, and it's being subordinate to one another in a reality of life. And so if you don't remember the first part of this saying, you get it all messed up, because we are much more comfortable working on power over each other than being submissive to each other. And it's we're just we're just tied up with power and who's the boss and all kinds of things like that. It's a hard lesson, but it's in the Bible. See, well, so you gotta. By the way, this is the best reading for a wedding. This is there used to be that. This was for a long time. We got to. That's the only lesson they had out of the Bible, and then we got kind of hung up on things. But it's really that's the one that should always be used. And so to say, in where was I? I was over in Medjugorje, and I got to watch a wedding, and it was really sweet. The bride and groom walked up together, and she had some flowers, but at the end, they had a cross, a big crucifix like this. They would hold on to that as they had their vows, and then immediately after it, they wouldn't go out with the flowers. They would go out with the marriage crucifix, and go home and put it over the marriage bed. I mean, really something really beautiful like that. And then we get to this thing with the very last. This is the end of that series of Gospels about the Eucharist in John's Gospel, and it's kind of, people I think the people that were leaving, maybe they wanted to have it like a metaphor, and the Jews were very, very acquainted with metaphors. I mean, just look at the Song of Songs, that beautiful, beautiful metaphor of marriage and God and His people. The Psalms, they're just beautiful, beautiful metaphors. So they were very comfortable with metaphor. But Jesus keeps saying, the bread and the wine become flesh and blood. And he was very strong on that. And they just couldn't do it. They realized, hey, this man isn't talking about a metaphor. He is saying, no, this really is there. This is my blood. This is my flesh. And you will drink my blood and eat my flesh. And just hard to hear. But yet, that's what Jesus said. And so he has this powerful, powerful sermon that he's giving and teaching to the people. And he's there. It's really Jesus. It's really him. God himself coming into us. But, you know, a lot of us, it's more important to have good ethics. You know, the philosopher Kant came into this whole thing is that the thing about the gospel and God is to have good ethics. And there's nothing wrong with good ethics. I mean, we should have good ethics. But that's not the purpose of the church. It's not the purpose of God. Our role and our deal is to become more like Christ. More like Christ. More and more like Christ. That's why we come to Mass. Not to have good manners, but to become more and more like Christ. And it's a purpose of our lives here on earth. Now, and when we do that, obviously, good things would happen. But the purpose is to be more like Christ. Getting rid of our desire for power. Not being worried so much of who won. And it was really sad when Jesus says, you know, these people leave. They just leave. And then when it says, as a result, many of his disciples returned to their former way of life and no longer accompanied him. That is in the Gospel of John, chapter 6, verse 66. 666. Do with what you want to think about that, but it's kind of something, okay? The tough part of the Bible. And then he says, well, are you going to go? Are you going to leave? Of course, they said, you know, you have the words of eternal life. Where else would we go? They got it. They got it. But it's not something that we just get and it's like a tattoo or something like that. And it's not something like our DNA. We could lose it. We can lose it. Now, all of us have great genes and great things like that. You know, I am a descendant of Adam. So are you. Okay? Started out pretty good, but he really messed up. What we have to do is say, okay, God, help me be more like you. Help me be more like Jesus. Help me to be Christ for others. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And so whether it's marriage or priesthood or consecrated life, single life, whether you're 7 or 8 or 70 or 80 or more, our job is to become more and more like Christ. From the very time we have come into this world, in that first one little cell in our mother's womb, our whole life and purpose should be, first of all, to become more like Christ.